When Yu Yan remembered that her husband had not contacted her for more than 10 days, she realized the seriousness of the matter. She left the male assistant's family dinner halfway, took out her mobile phone and frantically called my number, but all she heard was a series of mechanical prompts. She kept sending messages to my various social software, but a red exclamation mark popped up as soon as she sent it out. At this moment, she seemed to remember what I told her a few days ago. She ran through 99 red lights and brushed 300 yards, all the way back to my hometown. However, when she arrived at my house, she found that many people were moving. She ran over like crazy and scolded loudly, but no one paid attention to her. In the end, it was the neighbor next door who heard the sound and came out to check and told him the situation. The owner's mother passed away, and Hee Kyung had nothing to worry about. He sold the house a month ago and is now estimated to have gone abroad. Do you have anything to do with him? Hearing this, Liu Yuan collapsed to the ground instantly. She, who has always been known as the iceberg female president, cried like a child. All because the day before the funeral, she was busy going back to her hometown with her assistant to get married. When faced with my questioning, she said as if it was natural, "His mother is sick, and her only wish is to see him get married. I am just helping him, not really having sex with him. Why are you so excited?" But when I called her that night, it was her assistant who answered the phone. "Sister is very tired and is sleeping now. Just tell me if you have anything." I was silent for a moment and hung up the phone. The next morning, my wife called. "I am going to hold a wedding with Makoto Ito, so your mother's funeral will be postponed for a few days." I didn't say anything, but after the funeral was done silently, I called the lawyer. "Please help me draft a divorce agreement." On the day of my mother's funeral, Liu Yuan never showed up. I suppressed my grief and was busy alone, from leaving the customs to burial. My mother was tired during her lifetime, and I didn't want her to suffer again after her death, so I was careful and did every step myself. At the funeral, the guests were all trying to comfort her, but my uncles were very dissatisfied. Such a big thing, she didn't even show her face. Is she so cold-blooded? Let's go to Liu's house and ask her parents how they educated their daughter. The uncles were getting angrier and angrier and even planned to go to the door to argue. I stepped forward to stop them. "No, uncle, it's not worth it." In the morning, I saw Yuan's circle of friends. She was busy preparing for the wedding. How could she have time to think about the funeral? Her heart is no longer here. Coming here will only make things worse. My mother's funeral does not need a heartless person to attend. The coffin gradually disappeared in front of me. I took the shovel from a worker, shoveled up a handful of yellow soil, and gently covered the coffin. The only person in this world who loves me selflessly, I lost it after all. After the funeral, I sent a message to Liu Yuan. "The funeral is over." The message fell into the sea and no reply was received. Maybe she was busy and didn't see it, or maybe she saw it but didn't want to reply. It doesn't matter because I don't care anymore. After seeing off the guests, I contacted a divorce firm, explained my situation, and commissioned a lawyer to help with the divorce. As soon as I got home, I received a video from Liu Yuan's assistant, Ito Makoto. The video was a rural wedding scene, very lively, and everyone's face was filled with joy. In the video, Ito Makoto's voice was full of pride and excitement. "Oh, what a pity, Brother Kyung. Look, I said not to put it so grandly, but Mr. You disagree." "It was really a waste," I said, and was about to hang up the phone. But at this moment, the camera was aimed at Liu Yuan. In the video, she was wearing a red wedding dress and smiling happily and sweetly. "Baby, look here." Liu Yuan turned her head and heard that she was taking a video to share with me. Not only did she not stop it, but she greeted me excitedly. "Dear, rural weddings are also very grand. It's a pity that your mother passed away at this time. Otherwise, you can still come and join in the fun." Join in the fun. My hand holding the phone shook slightly. So in her eyes, the impact of my mother's death is just that I can't go to my wife's wedding to join in the fun. Looking back on the past, before I knew it, Yuan and I had been together for 8 years. The year before, I was still glad that we didn't have the so-called 7-year itch, but now reality has given me a hard slap in the face. I don't know when Liu or Yu Wyan started to have almost no patience for me. She was no longer as gentle as she used to be. She became irritable and capricious. Sometimes she even ran away from home because of some trivial things. Every time there was a conflict, I would choose to accommodate and give in, no matter who was at fault in the conflict, no matter how much she did because I loved her, so I would give in again and again until Makoto Ito appeared. The relationship between the two quickly heated up, and they were sticky and affectionate almost every day. When my mother was alive, she also heard the gossip of the neighbors. When she asked Liu Yuan, the latter was furious, smashing and making trouble at home, shouting that her mother didn't trust her. But in fact, my mother just asked casually, and she was just nervous. After I got home, I saw my mother sitting on the sofa with red eyes, but Liu Yuan did not come back all night again that night, did not answer the phone, did not reply to the message, and did not return home until the next morning. That was also the first time I got angry at her, and Liu Yuan was puzzled why I got so angry over a trivial matter. But she forgot how her mother treated her as her own daughter when she just got married. Later, my mother was hospitalized for illness, and Liu Yuan never went to the hospital to see her once from beginning to end. I was quite angry at first, but then I thought about it. We are an old couple. There's no need. I even had the fancy that as long as my husband and I survived the so-called 7-year itch, our relationship might gradually warm up. It was in this self-built utopia that I kept hypnotizing myself and persuading myself until my mother died. Looking at the gradually cold body on the hospital bed, I realized how ridiculous my own thoughts were, and that Yu Wai Undai had no future. Liu Yuan left the day before the funeral. I thought she would come back, but what I got was a call from her. She actually asked me to postpone my mother's funeral because Ito Makoto's mother was sick and wanted to see him bring a daughter-in-law home. And this daughter-in-law was Liu Yuan. How ridiculous. Her own mother-in-law was sick, but she didn't want to report the death, but was busy marrying another man. Even if it wasn't her own mother-in-law, the dead are the greatest, and she would not understand this truth from ancient times to the present. I also imagined that after she received my message, she would wake up and change her past, but she didn't reply, but said such words to the camera. At this moment, my hanging heart died completely. After the funeral, I packed up my mother's belongings. It's called a relic, but in fact, there is nothing, just a few simple clothes and some old jewelry. When I saw one of the plain jade bracelets, my mood was a little trance. My mother told me before she died that this was left by my grandmother and would be passed on to her daughter-in-law in the future. Holding the bracelet, I was stunned. At this time, Liu Yuan sent a message. Husband, I will be busy taking wedding photos and family portraits these days, so I won't be back. I didn't reply, just laughed at myself, and then wrapped the jade bracelet in my hand. Although it was my mother's last wish, I will not let this inheritance that belongs exclusively to my daughter-in-law fall into Liu Yuan's hands. She doesn't deserve it. Late at night, I noticed that Liu Yuan posted a circle of friends. It was a family photo of her and Ito Makoto's family. The accompanying text was very simple, happy family. In the photo, Ito Makoto's hand was around her waist, and the two smiled at each other, their eyes full of happiness. I almost forgot that Liu Yuan was still such a gentle person, or she has always been, but her gentleness will only bloom to the people she likes. It was 2 days later that I received a call from Liu Yuan again. She called and asked me to pick her up at the station. I was a little confused at first because she drove there when she left, so how could she come back from the station now? After arriving at the station, I understood. In addition to Liu Yuan and Ito Makoto, there were a bunch of old men and women from the countryside standing at the station entrance, shouting nonstop. Liu Yuan explained, Ito Makoto's mother and some of his elders are coming to the city to play. Please help entertain them. I could tell the other party's identity without him saying anything. After all, the greed in his eyes was almost the same as Ito Makoto's. I didn't say anything, nor did I express anything. But Ito Makoto came over, his eyes full of undisguised pride. Thank you for troubling me, Brother Kyung, for taking the trouble to make this trip. I was told that I could just take a taxi, but Sister Ryan insisted that you come to pick me up. How embarrassing. He smiled and stretched out his hand, and I looked at him expressionlessly, not intending to pay any attention. Ito Makoto looked embarrassed at Liu Yuan, who was standing beside him, said in a bad tone, Are you blind? Or have you been taught all these years if nothing happened? Before he could speak, Edokoto's mother, an old lady with snuggish eyes, pulled Liu Yuan's hand and grumbled, Why is there only Yuan's hand and grumbled? Are you Yuan hand and grumbled? While Yuan was about to take out her mobile phone, Yuan was about to go a taxi by yourself. Hey, how can I let you call a taxi by your starters will go faith? I didn't care at all, took out the car keys and threw them to Ito Makoto. Okay, I have no objection. Yuan was relieved and raised her chin to me. Then you should arrange it quickly. Don't let my relatives wait too long. After that, the three of them drove away. Before leaving, I glanced at Ito Makoto and his mother. The pride and arrogance in their eyes were not concealed at all, but they didn't understand at all that I didn't care anymore. When I sent Ito Makoto's relatives to the hotel, Liu Yuan was already waiting downstairs. Seeing me, she immediately stepped forward. Well, Ito Makoto and his mother said that they wanted to go to their mother's funeral with me. They are changing clothes. You wait in the car for a while. When they are ready, you drive us there. I disagreed and refused decisively without thinking. Ma'am always likes quietness. These are outsiders. It's unnecessary. Liu Yuan was immediately unhappy, but I have already promised him. They all praised me for my kindness. Besides, they finally came all the way here. It's a kind gesture anyway. Just take a look. What's wrong? I sneered. Who knows if it's just a false sympathy? It's better not to have such a kind gesture. I was about to refuse when I saw Ito Makoto and his mother walking out of the hotel lobby. Kabuto Ito's outfit was normal, all black with a white flower on his chest, but when I saw his mother's outfit, my face couldn't help but sink. A bright red dress. Someone who didn't know would think someone's reed envelope had turned into a spirit. Dressed like this, is she going to her mother's funeral to pay her respects, or is she trying to disgust me? You're wearing this to attend a funeral. Facing my cold words, Makoto eyes at me so old-fashioned. And wave till you are Yuan. Look at Mom. Is this outfit suitable for me today? Will Yuan look at Mom if this outfit's suitable for me today? Liu Yuan immediately stepped forward, held her hand, and complimented her repeatedly. It's suitable, it's suitable, it's suitable, it's suitable, it's suitable. If I were you, why was my open, and he's seeing me standing aside without moving, she frowned. What are you doing? I just got married to his son. What's wrong with an old man wanting to wear something festive? Are you angry about this? I looked at her calmly and grinned. I'm too stingy. Ignoring Liu Yuan's strange look, I got up and took the initiative to get into the driver's seat. I knew very well that I shouldn't have any more hope for Yuan. She had no place for her mother in her heart. In the car, Liu Yuan's face was complicated. She wanted to speak several times, but I interrupted her without hesitation. It's rush hour now. Don't always pick on me. My cold words made Liu Yuan's face flash a little unnatural, but she finally shut up honestly. On the contrary, Ito Makoto's mother was a little unhappy. Are you Yuan? What's wrong with your driver? He has no manners at all. This kind of person should be fired earlier. I didn't care at all, and even wanted to laugh. Who is he? Why does he give me orders? Liu Yuan was a little embarrassed and explained, Mom, don't be angry. He just doesn't think before he speaks. Don't mind it. Ito Makoto's mother sighed. I have really wronged you over the years. When I first saw you, I felt that you were destined to be the daughter-in-law of our family. Humphrey likes you to the bone. As she said that, she pretended to touch the tears that did not exist at all. Ito Makoto comforted her. Mom, don't cry. Isn't it a happy situation now? Are you Wyan said that she will prepare for pregnancy in a while and give you a big fat boy. Liu Are You Wyan's face changed, and she quickly patted Ito Mako's thigh. Don't talk nonsense. I don't plan to have children in the short term. Ito Makoto lowered his head, and I clearly saw the resentment flashing in his eyes from the rearview mirror. You Wyan seemed to be talking to herself, but in fact she explained to me, I am now in the rising period of my career, and I have no plans to have children at all. Let's talk about it later. I nodded calmly, pretending not to hear it. She didn't need to explain so nervously. In the past, I might have been angry and questioned her, but now I don't care at all. My relationship with her has reached its end, and there is no need to care at all. When the car stopped at the cemetery, Wyan was a little surprised. Why are you here? He probably didn't understand who would choose a cemetery for a funeral. Did you drive to the wrong place, He Kyung? I turned off the car and met her puzzled eyes in the rearview mirror. Yes, this is it. As if she thought of something, Wyan's face turned pale. You mean I nodded, looking into the depths of the cemetery with no emotion in my tone. The old man has been buried while you were busy giving birth to a big fat boy for Ito Makoto. Yan was stunned. After she came to her senses, she pounced on me and grabbed my arm with a ferocious face. Did you do this on purpose? Didn't I ask you to postpone the funeral? I shook her arm off and sneered. Do you think you are the center of the world and everything revolves around you? The time of the funeral has been set long ago. Just because of you, are we going to let the old man's body be exposed? Wyan was silent. Ito Makoto's mother couldn't help but accuse. What can't it wait? Wyan is such a good girl. It's her honor to be willing to pay tribute to the mother of her subordinate. It's okay if she is not grateful, but you still have the nerve to blame her. You are really ungrateful. Bad. Ito Makoto nodded and agreed. That's right, people like you are ungrateful. Sister, are you Wyan takes care of you so much, don't you think about her at all? My face was cold and hard, and I was not moved at all. Consider you are you Wyan. But who will think about my poor mother? Who will think about my poor mother? Liu Wyan was silent for a long time and took a deep breath. Where's the tomb? Take me there. I shook my head. You can go, but they can't. I pointed at Ito Makoto and his mother, who was dressed up as a flashy. This kind of people just defile the dead. I don't agree. Ito Makoto's old face suddenly fell, as if she wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Wyan. Okay, you and I will go. I walked in front, and Wyan followed closely behind. Along the way, she kept nagging and questioning. Why didn't you hold the funeral without my consent? At least you should notify me, right? How do you let others see me as a daughter-in-law? I didn't even attend my mother-in-law's funeral. Do you want me to be stabbed in the back? I never got a response from Liu. Wyan couldn't stand it anymore and quickly stood in front of me. You won't consider me at all now, right? I looked at her angry eyes. Without any fluctuation in my heart, hasn't the date of the funeral been determined long ago? Don't you know? Why did you notify me specifically? And didn't I send you a message afterwards? You didn't reply yourself. How dare you? Wyan's face changed, and she took out her mobile phone as if to confirm something. I watched quietly, watching her face turn from blue to red, and then gradually turn pale. When she raised her head again, there was a trace of guilt in her eyes. Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't notice your message. I didn't mean it. I sneered and interrupted her pale and weak defense. Is it useful to say this now? The person has been buried. What? Do you want me to dig out my mother's body and let you go through the process again? What are you talking about? Wyan became angry. Okay, I turned around and walked forward on my own. You want to pay your respects, so I brought you here, but only this time. Don't come again. Wyan was stunned. After she came to her senses, she grabbed my arm, her voice trembling slightly. What do you mean? I looked at her and said in a deep voice, I have prepared the divorce agreement and I'm just waiting for you to sign it. Wyan's reaction was much more excited than I thought. Almost the moment she heard the word divorce, she yelled, I don't agree. Impossible. Didn't I just not attend my mother's funeral? Didn't I tell you the reason? You want to divorce me because of this? I looked at her calmly. You did tell me, but please find someone on the road to ask whose daughter-in-law would run away to marry another man at the funeral of her mother-in-law, whose daughter-in-law you want to be. Ryan was pale and said nothing. I don't care because even if she doesn't say it, I know that in her heart, Makoto Ito is much more important than me. One is a husband who is tired of each other after 7 years, and the other is a young, energetic, handsome, sunny boy. It's clear who is stronger and who is weaker. I just sympathized with her. Wine wanted to explain, but there was no confidence in her tone. She has repeated this sentence countless times. Every time I quarreled with her because of Makoto Ito, she would say that she was out of sympathy. Once I forgot to bring my keys when I went out, so I called her to help send them. But when Makoto Ito appeared in front of me with the keys to my house, my heart could not calm down anyway. Usually I always come to get clothes for general manager use, so she also made a key for me, by the way. Why? I let a strange man come in and out of our wedding room at will. What on earth was she thinking? That day at the company, I told Liu Ruyan not to give the house key to an outsider, but Liu Ruyan's answer once again disappointed me. What do you mean by outsider? Itamakuto is my good brother. I usually ask him to help at home. Anne was stunned and her nails dug deep into her palms. She suddenly remembered the diagnosis sheet she saw when she was sorting out the drawer last week. She was pregnant, and the father of the child could only be the man in front of her who disdained. But at this moment, all the words were stuck in her throat, leaving only the stinging pain of blood oozing from the gaps between her nails. She finally spoke, but was interrupted by a ringing cell phone. Ito Makoto's number jumped on the screen, and the note column still had the words she wrote by hand 6 months ago, Little Brother Chen. For some unknown reason, she pressed the answer button. Sister Anne, my mother is in the hospital and urgently needs 300,000 yuan for surgery. A man's crying voice came, and the noise of the hospital corridor was in the background. Anne subconsciously looked at Shanghai, but found that he had turned and walked towards the parking lot. His black windbreaker raised a cold arc in the night wind. 3 days later, Liu waited for Zheng Kai in a suit and leather shoes at the door of the Civil Affairs Bureau. He wore a plain ring on his left ring finger. It was the style she picked when they got married, but it hurt her eyes at this moment. The divorce agreement was spread out on the marble table. Her eyes swept over the property division column, the 3 properties and company shares under her name. He didn't take a penny. Why? Her voice sounded like it was polished by sandpaper. You can obviously let me leave the house empty-handed. Zheng, I stopped writing, looked up at her. His eyes were terribly calm. Because my mother said that true decency is not revenge, but to make yourself look better. He paused and pulled out an envelope from his briefcase. This is what you left at the old house. I don't tell you anything. Returning to the empty villa, Liu Yuan opened the envelope. What fell out was not the jewelry she thought, but a yellow pregnancy test report. The date was 5 years ago, and it said 6 weeks pregnant. There was a pen-written note on the edge of the paper. Yuan said that the child would affect her career, so she asked me to get rid of it. Tears fell on the pregnancy test form, and she suddenly remembered that rainy night when she linked to Shanghai that she was working overtime at the company, but in fact she was lying on the operating table of a private hospital. When the cold instrument touched her abdomen, her palms holding the operating sheet were full of sweat, and her nails dug deeply into her palms, but she never said, I regret it. 3 months later, Yuan saw Zhang Ai's photo in the financial news. He was standing on the podium of an international academic conference with a gentle woman in glasses standing beside him. The plain ring on his ring finger was replaced with a simple wedding ring. The headline of the news read, Chinese-American scientist Zhang Ai returns to China with his wife to help with biomedical research and development. The screen switched to the question and answer session from the audience, and a reporter asked, I heard that you once gave up an important promotion opportunity. What made you change your decision? Shankai held his wife's hand, and the camera swept across her slightly bulging belly. Because I realized that some people are not worth your staying for her, and true love will make you want to be a better person. You are you, Wyan turned off the TV, touched her flat belly, and smiled bitterly. On the coffee table was the court summons she had just received. Ito Makoto took away the last working capital of her company and disappeared in the tropical rainforest of Southeast Asia. A text message suddenly popped up on her mobile phone. It was from the private detective she had blocked, Ms. The evidence you want has been found. Your mother's car accident that year. The villa area was as silent as a tomb late at night. URUY and knelt in front of the Buddhist temple, lit 3 incense sticks facing her mother's portrait. The incense ash fell on the back of her trembling hand, just like the cotton swab handed by the nurse beside the operating table 5 years ago, the same burning pain, the same powerlessness. In the safe in the corner of the Buddhist temple, the jade bracelet left by Shankai Lake Wiley and half of a broken poem was engraved on the emerald green bracelet. You are buried in the mud and your bones are dissolved, and I am living in the world with snow all over my head. This was a poem she had seen on his desk. At that time she sneered at his pedantry, but she didn't know that this was a blessing that his mother had asked someone to carve before she died. A rainstorm suddenly broke out outside the window. Wyan touched the cold door of the safe and finally burst into tears. The sound of rain covered up her broken whispers, but it could not wash away the truth that she had buried with her own hands. It turned out that Shankai had discovered the strangeness of her mother's car accident long before she betrayed him. It turned out that the man who was always disliked by her for being dull had secretly ordered 10 years of white chrysanthemums for her mother's death anniversary. It turned out that all the antidotes were just the retribution for her self-deception. When the incense burned out, Wyan took out her mobile phone and sent a message to the long-expired number. I'm sorry, the burn medicine back then was actually bought by me. When the notification tone of failed sending sounded, she finally understood that some apologies were destined to be said only to memories. The rain stopped, and the sky in the east was cold and white. Wyan took off the wedding ring on her ring finger, threw it into the trash can, turned and walked into the cloakroom. In the deepest part of the closet hung an outdated floral apron. It was a wedding gift from Shankai's mother, and the label was still on. She gently stroked the daisy pattern on the fabric, and suddenly remembered the old lady holding her hand before she died, with a complex look in her eyes that she had never understood. Wyan, people's hearts are made of flesh and blood. Don't wait until they are cold to know warmth. The phone vibrated at this time. It was a push from the hospital. Preparation for pregnancy tips. Maintain a good attitude and avoid long-term anxiety that affects conception. Wyan stared at the jumping cursor on the screen and finally slowly deleted the unsent "I'm pregnant" message. Outside the window, a sparrow flew across the sky with a dead branch in its beak. She suddenly remembered the baby bird that Shankai had drawn on his notebook in college class. At that time, she laughed at his ugly drawing. Now she realized that all the unspoken tenderness had long been shattered into slag in time.